Hello and welcome back, this is ProTaleDev back with another game jam video, and this time we're looking at the mini jam Death, and we're going to be looking at the first day, what I've done for the first day, and kind of explaining kind of what I want to go for with this game. Now as you can see, this is actually well into the second day, but I'm actually a little bit late. This is partially to do with the fact that Saturdays I just don't have a lot of time, so it is Saturday, and yeah, I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm actually about to start working on the game now. So let's actually look at the game first. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to talk about the limitation, because that wasn't revealed until the game jam started. So first of all, the theme was death, and we already knew that it's surrounded by Halloween, you know, it's death. But the limitation is your health is your weapon. So in my case, I wanted to make the health pretty much as practical and obvious as you would expect. This is just going to be a way of damaging or defeating an enemy. Let's actually get into the game and show you what I've got. So on the first day, it won't look like very much because I've kept it to the very basics in terms of visuals. I won't be working on visuals and probably until second day related stuff. So what I'll be doing after this video will be pretty much looking at maybe finishing off the mechanics and getting some visuals in there. But it's just a very basic shapes at the moment, just for the functionality. So what we've got is we've got 4 rooms either side, surrounding a center room, and then these intersections. So the way this game is going to work is that you're a player. It's going to be first person based, because I haven't done a first person game in quite a while. And you're going to be going around these creepy dark areas, again Halloween-esque, and each room is going to have its own theme, hopefully, and you're going to have to go and collect these items. When you pick up an item, it's going to have some kind of value to you, mentally or physically. What it's going to do is it's actually going to heal you. These rooms, once you pick up these items, which are these blue orbs at the moment, it'll actually expand the room out. So down here we have a second room. This is already set up, and these second rooms are actually just placeholders for what the next room is going to be. The idea is that they'll expand out and get bigger and bigger with each level you go down. So far there's only going to be 12 types of rooms, so essentially 3 different types of one specific room. And as you get down to the last room, it gets bigger and bigger, it gets harder and harder to find the object. And I think that's quite interesting. Of course, I mentioned just then that you need to go and get your health from these items. The reason is because you're going to be using your own health as a weapon against this monster. So this monster, who's actually going to represent regret, I'm hopefully going to have a few clues around to that subject, but basically you're going to be running away from your regret. And this is the enemy at the moment that's going to be chasing you. Now this whole area has already been nav meshed, so the enemy will chase you and follow you dynamically, and you can keep running and running, and each time you collect these items it'll change the level. Each room will get harder and bigger, and what you can actually do is you can actually go to one of these red blocks, and one of these red blocks is actually similar to the hiding mechanic that we had in a previous game jam. During Christmas last year I made a game that was more like hide and seek, and one of those mechanics was to hide. That's what this red cube is going to be. So you're going to be able to hide away from the monster, but hiding away, what will happen once you come out is that it'll actually destroy the object, so you can't hide there anymore. And this is just so the players have to keep moving around, they can't just hide at one specific location. You also have to get very close to it to be able to hide in it, so you might have to find them as well as you go. And yeah, I have tested this areas a little bit, and I actually think that the rooms are actually too small, so I will be expanding this, but this is all just for playtesting and kind of just the basic fundamental. Oh, another thing to mention is that like I mentioned, the first day was all about getting the functionality, so I did all of this coding already. That's all finished, so the player health is in there. I do have a throwable projectile, which is how I was going to damage the enemy. In this case, it's going to be regret, but I'm actually going to change that to something along the lines of being able to place blood, like a blood circle on the ground, and you have to try and lure them into standing in it. I think that could be more fun, especially if you're trying to run around objects. Okay, enough talking, let's actually just show you what I've got. So the first thing that happens is you're in the starter room. You've got at the top left, you've got step outside, you've got new text, and you've got 5. I'll talk about that in a second. What immediately you've got to do is you've got to get out. So there you go. Once you step outside, the timer will start. That timer means you have to try and get all the items in that time. The 0 underneath is actually the collectible items you have to collect, and then the 5 is actually the amount of time you need to hide. That'll probably change to something like a bar or some kind of other system. Maybe I won't even have a timer that you have to stay in there for before you can leave. We'll see, but for now that is there, and that's for hiding. At the moment the enemy is pretty slow. The idea is that the more you collect, the faster they get, and so the more you're gonna have to try and strategize your hiding. Let's out of interest, what we're gonna do is that we're actually going to, where have they gone? Oh. Just out of interest, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go and hide now. Now the enemy still follows us, that hasn't been programmed in yet, something I'm going to do today. But as you hide, what will happen is you'll have a camera that basically you can see around you, and I think that's quite fun. You'll be able to see what you're doing. And that's a big difference to the other game jam that I did where I was hiding. One of the feedbacks was that you couldn't actually see around you, you couldn't actually see where the enemy was, you couldn't rotate your screen very well. And so at least this, you get some kind of visual cue to know if you're safe or not. Then what you can do is once the number's in minus, now I can leave. I can't actually leave until the number was in minus, but now I can. So if I can leave, and there you go, the hiding spot is now gone. So let's actually try and collect something. So if we loop around here, by the way, the monster that hits us, the regret, is actually going to be, I think I was going to make it a one-shot kill, but I'll just have it really slow early on. Because of all the hiding spots as well, I think that just adds a little bit more danger. So if I go here now, I collect this. The reason the you win came up then is because the timer ran out. I think that was what happened. I'll have to look back on that, but so yeah, if we just start out here again and we go, and this time we collect immediately, what will happen is you saw a slight movement then with the actual the building. The building's slightly different, and what we can actually do is you can see that we've got a 1 now there. And now if we collect 12, what will happen is it'll actually open up this place here. So this thing is just there as a placeholder. It's actually the end trigger, so once that'll be like a portal on the ground back in the center room, and you've got to go to it. Of course, if you're in a massive room on one of the last floors, then this could be quite a difficult task to do. It'll be basically the escape state. So let's just run in there because it's open at the moment, and that's what I've got so far. You can, I don't know if you saw that, but health was recovering when I picked up those items, although I've programmed it in so that if I have 100% health already, it will not actually work. So if I quickly, just to show that it is working, the health, hold on, and I just get rid of some health here. I don't know, let's say that much. Okay, as you see at the bottom left, it's a percentage. Immediately you can see, and if I go and collect this, back to 100%. Okay, so that's what I've got so far. It's not too complex, it's not too crazy, but I think I like it so far. I like the mechanics and how I'm going to do this. Essentially, it's a hunting game where you've got to hide and collect items. It's been done a lot of times, but I really wanted the map to change as you did it. It's something slightly different to all the other games you usually play in this type of style, where it's a hunting game where you got to try and collect items. You don't really see it very often where the map changes this differently. So I figured that this would be something a little bit nicer to play, different. Okay, so that has been the first day of the game jam. So this has been ProTaleDev, and I'll see you next time.